Talking about Lonzo in his big game that he had last night against the 76ers in the Summer League. Shot 12 for 22, 50% from the field, 30% from three, 9 from 12 from the free throw line. Had a pretty good, decent game last night. I didn't want to spend this long talking about it, but I just don't want people to overreact to his one game, He had a pretty good game. He shot, double the shots than his next teammate. His last teammate shot 11, which is cool. He's the best player on the team in the Summer League. To me, I feel like Brandon Ingram will be the star of the team. But he did play good. Had 5 steals, which was surprising. He kind of played center field a little bit, kind of roamed around. Got a couple steals that he didn't get really accounted for, but whatever. He still did pretty good on defense. The Lakers team as a whole is a young team, looked pretty good. They showed some resiliency coming back, being down. The 76ers kept giving them all they can ask for, but they came back, and won the game, which was important. He had highlights. Almost had a triple-double, which was good. 8 rebounds, looked real good to me. 2 offensive rebounds, had a +5 while he was on the floor. The 6 turnovers were a little too much. Had the most turnovers on the team. The team as a whole had over 20, but still played good. That shot still is, to me, still a problem. I understand it's still early. He hasn't played a full NBA game yet, but that shot still is a little bit alarming to me. They kept coming underneath the screens on him, just forcing him to shoot that jumper, giving him the, Rondo, Ricky Rubio treatment. And to me, that's his worst case scenario, is he becomes a Rajon Rondo, Ricky Rubio, S player, if he doesn't become this, star that people think. And people need to slow down on that too, because people automatically are trying to make him a superstar. They think he's going to be a superstar, but to me, and people, compare him to a Jason Kidd, which if you never really thought of Jason Kidd as a superstar. And don't get me wrong, Hall of Fame, player, great player, but you never really thought Jason Kidd, bam, he's going to be Magic Johnson. No. Great passer, but never really turned out to be that Magic Johnson type of player. And one good note that Lonzo did show yesterday, is that he drove the lane a lot more, which I was really hoping he would do, because they're going to sag off of him, and in pick and roll, he needs to drive the lane more. He is that type of point guard, get in the paint, kick out type of point guard. But the last couple games, he was looking for the pass instead of looking to make, score for himself, which I understand he's not a selfish, type of player. That's not in his DNA. He doesn't want to look for himself. But you pulling up and shooting threes, you shot 10 threes and made 3, shot 30%, and some of the threes that he was shooting were a lot of, some of them were uncontested, but some of them that were contested was a little bit ridiculous. He airballed one of them, but I just feel like he's after the first game when he shot real bad, made 1 3, he stayed after, worked on his shot. He has to get that shot off quicker, because I feel like when people come off the screens and they go underneath the screen, they leave him time to shoot it, and he has time to set his feet and try to get the 3 up. But he takes his time because he knows they're not going to contest it, so he tries to shoot it, and he sets his feet and goes for it. But he takes too long, getting the shot off, and he needs to get that motion quicker. Like, the elongated motion is just too long. Like, I refer to him as a Phillip Rivers type of player. Phillip Rivers has a very ugly throwing motion. It is really weird and hard to watch, but he gets the ball out of his hands so quickly that it doesn't matter what his throwing motion looks like, because he gets that ball out of his hand so quickly. It's hard for defensive players to strip sack him because that ball's out of his hands, within a second. So he needs to figure out a way to get the ball out quicker. And they even talked about how last year they helped Brandon Ingram. His mechanics were off in his shot. So they helped him out to get his shot off, and they just changed his whole shot completely. Now, I don't know if Lonzo is willing to do that, because I remember he was not willing to change his shot when they had talked to him about it, because he shot 41% from 3 last year at UCLA, so people automatically assume that's going to translate. And he is a better shooter than what he's shown. He's still getting his feet wet, and he's a rookie, so I understand that. But to me, in this aspect, he has to show improvement in the shooting, because like I said, if they're sacking off of him and just letting him shoot, and he keeps missing, he's not gonna become the player that everybody thinks he is. He has to develop a shot. It's this NBA. You have to shoot. You have the fear of being able to shoot. I'm sorry, you have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, his defense didn't look great tonight, even though he had 5 steals. His defense did not look great. A lot of the players on the 76ers were going at him on defense, and I feel like he has to. He's not a big. He's 6'6", but if he can just, because Steph Curry isn't good on defense, but they hide it really well. So Brandon Ingram looked real good in his first game. So if he can develop and become a great defender for him, Jordan Clarkson's a pretty decent defender. So if they can get some defenders around him, that way he can, they can kind of cover up for his lack on defense, and he could just, because Steph Curry really good at stealing the ball as well. So, he did good this game. He balled out, no pun intended. But, of course, he still has some chinks in the armor that needs to get taken care of. Looking for the highlight passes and stuff. He needs to shut down the turnovers. But he looked pretty good for this game. So I'm hoping he gets that shot going. That's pretty much the only thing really holding him back from being great. So tell me what you guys think and subscribe for more videos. Thanks.